Welcome to Data Science Now, a podcast by Closter with your host Fabio Vasquez. On this episode, we make a recap of the content about the basics of data science that we've shared so far on the season, and also give you a sneak peek of what we'll learn on the next sessions. Follow us on social media at Closter Team. This is Data Science Now.
Welcome to a new episode of Hello, now we go. Hello and welcome everyone to a new episode of Data Science Now. I'm thrilled to have you all here. I'm very excited to be back with this great show. The idea of this program, of this show, is to help you get started in data science, and if you are already there, to have you see a whole method for applying data science. So let me go to details here. The first thing is that I want to thank the 43,668 people that have already subscribed to the newsletter, and we're very excited to have all of you in here. The idea of this started as a random project, and in this season we're working in a whole methodology for data science. So let me remind you that you can ask questions at any time. The idea of this episode in particular is for you to have and ask your questions. You can put them directly on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to answer all of your questions, because that's one of the ideas of this episode in particular. And the other thing is to remind you of the things we have been covering so far. The name of this season is Concepts and the Basics of Data Science. So what we're doing is trying to understand what do you need to know to get started in this field. The past episodes, and we have had 7 in this season so far, have been about the topics of, and I'm going to read them to you. We started with business understanding. We then went for data collection, data exploration and preparation, where we covered some things about feature engineering as well. Then we covered knowledge discovery in data science, and finally modeling and machine learning for data science. So those are the topics we have covered so far. And so let me tell you an idea of why the name of those episodes, and why are we doing this like this. Remember that when you're starting in any data science project, you really need to understand the business. This is a crucial thing. You need to understand the business. You need to understand the problem you're trying to solve, and you have to remember that data science solves problems. That's what we do. We are supposed to be solving the problems for companies, for organizations, for the industry, for the academia, whatever you want to do, but we need something to get started with. And sometimes that can be challenging. And so I explained several things on how to approach the process of business understanding. And you can read about that right now in the newsletter. That was the episode number 2 and 3, because it was kind of long. So we split that into two videos, 2 sessions. In the first one, I told you about the importance of how data science can change the way you work, and also how it works in a business environment. If you remember, we covered that sometimes most companies are collecting data for some reason, that they have been doing that for the past 20 years, 27 years, 30 years. So they have data of their customers, of their transactions, and all of that. And sometimes someone really wants to do something with that data. That doesn't mean that they always did data science with that data, because this may happen before, like in the era of data mining, in the era of SQL databases and all of that. So that was like the start of of this field. But nowadays, when we have data science and all of these concepts, that, by the way, I wrote an article about the roots of data science, like how to get started, like how it got started, you can read about that if you search online on Google the words "the roots of data science." If you do that, you'll read my interpretation on how data science became a field of study and how it became something that we have right now. So in that article, I talk about the most important pieces of data science, the business part, solving business problems. I talked about statistics, data analysis. I talked about the algorithmic culture in data science, the concepts of the importance of programming and all of that, and also how it can be applied for different areas. So you can read about that in that article. Again, the name is The Roots of Data Science. Someone is asking here a question, Francine. Hey, Francine, is that are the previous videos available? Yes, they are. You can find all of those videos in our YouTube channel. If you search for Closter, the name of our company on YouTube, you will see all of the episodes we have for the season one that had like 10 episodes, and all of the 7 episodes that we have had in the past 7 sessions. So they are just there, and you can also find us on Spotify. If you search for Data Science Now on Spotify, you can hear the podcast version of all of these sessions. And finally, you can also read the newsletter. And in the newsletter, there are LinkedIn articles. So if you go to my profile, go to my activity and see my articles, all of my past articles for the past months has been the newsletters. And in there, I will give you the link for the YouTube channel. I'll give you the link for the podcast, and also reading explanation of what I said. Sometimes I put pictures, I put the links of the things I'm talking about with you right here, right now. I talk about more things that I didn't have the chance or time to cover in this session. So you should read the newsletter if you want to have more context for a particular episode in this show. So thank you for that. And hello, everyone. We have here, hello, Geraldine. Hello, Emiliano. We have hello, Rajib. How are you doing? We have Edwin. Hello, Edwin. Hello, Angie. Hello, Angelina. We have here Chauki. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Hello, Yulene. We also have Liz here. Hello, Liz. We have Jose. Hello, Jose. And Luis. How you doing? So while I'm talking, please go ahead and ask your questions here if you have any in particular about what I'm talking about, or in general about data science. So let me go now to what we did in these first 2 episodes. So we covered like how the data science department can be created inside of a company. What are the different positions and important places that data science can apply if you're working for a company in data science? Then I talked about how to get the context of a company and a project. And so the best way and to do this, I said 4 things. The first thing is to have constant meetings with the people involved in the process that you are trying to model. 2, talk to business experts inside and outside of the company. Number 3, investigate the company and document your research. And number 4, ask questions to the crucial people in the company. I also talked about what to ask in business meetings, and I gave you some examples of questions that you should be asking if you want to understand a problem. I also talked about how to behave in a business environment. And this is important because not all of us were introduced on how to behave or act inside of a company, or how to behave in a meeting. So I learned this the hard way because I was coming from the academia, and then I had to enter like these business meetings, and I had no idea what to say, or if I needed to write something, or what to ask to these people. So in here I give you some some tips on how can you behave. Most of them are taken from other places, and they're all concentrated in this newsletter. Finally, I also gave you the ideas, like, or the basic introduction on how to understand the goals of a company and its departments. So that's what we cover in um, the first session, in the first episode of this second season. And the second episode of the season was the same topic, but part two, because we were left with some questions. And the idea now is that you need to also understand the KPIs of a company. And by KPI, I mean key performance indicator. Data scientists need to know the jargon of the business, because you will be talking to a lot of business people if you're working in data science in a company. So you need to be able to understand how they talk and what they mean with these words. And also, KPIs exist in almost every company. So they are the way we can measure how effectively a company is achieving their objectives. And sometimes for data science, they can be very important, because you can realize that the people have been doing a bad job at measuring some of these KPIs, or they did a good job, and now you have all the feedback you need to start thinking on a hypothesis that can create the path for your project in data science. So I gave you some ideas. I also mentioned two great articles, one by my friend Matt Dancho, if he's here. Hello, Matt. And also, I talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly of doing data science for businesses. So it's not all flowers and unicorns. So I didn't know about this when I got started. So I think it's important that you have an idea on the things that may happen to you in the future, or that maybe are happening to you right now. So that's the idea of this part, to talk to you about like in my experience, the good thing, the bad thing, and all of that. I also gave some examples on how important can be understanding business problem, because sometimes, I mean, if you are a machine learning researcher, if you're doing only academia, you may not care about this, because what you really care is about the theory. You care about the accuracy of your models, and how did you code them, if they are working for in Linux, or you have to work them in a cluster environment. So that's what you care about if you are doing a research in machine learning of these topics. But if you're working in a business, you need to tie your solutions to their needs. And this is very important, because sometimes you can have the best model with the best performance, but it's not solving the actual problem. So that's all in the second episode. I think it's number 4. Yeah, it's number 3 for this season. I have some questions here by Ulises. It's in Spanish. I'm going to translate it. Can you share a book in which the topics of business understanding, data collection, exploration, preparation, and modeling are explained? So in the last season, in season number 1, I have 2 episodes about this in particular. And I shared more than 20 books and more than, 50 resources on how to learn all of this for free. So you can learn a lot of like the process of machine learning, like from beginning to end. And you can find them. They are. I will put the link in the newsletter when this comes out. And mostly, I think if you really want to understand like the theory behind all of this, there's one great book that you have to read, and it's called it's a book by Bishop about machine learning and patterns. So that's a great book. Another great book I really like by this Roth is called Math for Machine Learning. There's another book by someone who is very big here at LinkedIn. He's called Andrew Burkhoff. And the name of the book is 100-page machine learning book. And he's working on a different book now that's going to be more about the specifics of machine learning. There's another book that it's really good. I think it's by Ariel Garion, something like that. It's a French guy, I think. And it's an O'Reilly book. and it's called Hands-on Machine Learning with Python, Scikit-learn, and TensorFlow, something like that. That can give you also a very good explanation on like all of these topics and with practice in Python in particular. Another great book is also R for Data Science by the amazing Hadley Wickham. So if you know R, you know who Hadley Wickham is. And in that book you can also find all of the information on how to perform data science and do machine learning and all of this with R. So I think with that you should have, but as I mentioned, if you search for all of the episodes that are on LinkedIn or in YouTube, you can see the 2 episodes about the math for machine learning books and also the best books to learn machine learning. So they are just there. I have a question here. Oh, hi, Ari. We have a person here, Kayla. Hey, Kayla. Will this video will be available later? Yes. So these uh, episodes are being recorded right now, and we're gonna put them on our YouTube channel. So the link, I don't know if Elaine can put that link right now. The link is, I mean, you can find us on YouTube, Closter. You can just search for Closter online, and you'll have the link in there. All of the videos. Hopefully, you'll see the link in the comments very soon. A question by Choki. Can we use data science in our work environment without being explicitly the data scientist? Or if this position does not exist yet in the company? And I think yes. And I think a lot of people are doing that. So in my story as data scientist, I started as a backend developer for a company that for some reason got involved into a data project. And I didn't even know that I was a data scientist. I was working with machine learning and solving data problems with data mining in my head. That was like 7 years ago. But I was actually doing data science. So if you are working with data and you have access to all of these resources for databases, and you know the mathematics, you know the business context, and you also are able to create these algorithms to solve problems with machine learning, you can do data science, even though your name in the company is not data scientist. So again, please talk to your boss because maybe you have other things to do. So you need to think about if you are able to do it. And there are more names for this. I mean, there are data analysts, business analysts, data translators. We have data engineers. We have data ops people, machine learning engineers. There's a lot of different things that you can find inside of like the data science world that are doing some parts of data science. Not in particular, all of them are doing the same, but they're doing things that are helpful for the data science part. Hey, Jafar, how you doing? So we have a question here by Marcela. Marcela is asking, how do we subscribe to the newsletter? And what is the name of the YouTube channel? So if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, you have to go to my profile on LinkedIn. You go to my activity, see all activity. You'll see a link in there that says see all activity. You click there and go to my articles. If you go to my articles, all of the articles that I have been publishing for the past months are Data Science Now newsletters. So in any of those, you can hit subscribe, and that's it. I think you can also search in the LinkedIn bar for search Data Science Now, and hopefully you'll find in the newsletter, but I'm not sure about that. So those are the ways I know. And for YouTube, the idea is you have to go to YouTube and search the words Closter, Closter. And there you can find all of the videos for the past season, for this season, and also very soon this video as well. Oh, thank you. So Elaine just put here the YouTube channel, and there it is. It's a long link, but you can click there and you can subscribe right now to our YouTube channel. And if you want to join the newsletter directly, here's the link. Thank you, Elaine, for this. So in here, you have also the link for the newsletter. They're both there in the chat. So if you're seeing this live right now, you can just go and click on the link for YouTube, or for the this bit.ly is for the newsletter, and you can subscribe just right there. And you can join more than 43,000 people subscribe here. Great. So let me go now to a different portion. So after we covered the important thing of business understanding and all of the soft skills you need for that, we went for data collection. And this is something that can really make a difference. Before the concept of data science and all of this that we have right now, in the world of data mining, the concept of collecting the data and the quality of the data was not present all the time. I don't say that, I don't mean that it was not there for all the companies, but some people were just thinking that, yeah, we have the data already. Let's just do data mining. But data science have we have the to do the data collection part, and sometimes more people can help you here. You can find help here from data engineers, from data analysts, from SQL people, people that know databases, and all of that. Because the idea here is that you need to collect the data for solving the problem in your head. After you have selected the problem and you have transformed the business idea into an actual problem, you created a hypothesis. Now it's time to collect the data to start checking for the data that can help you solve this problem. So in this particular newsletter and session, I covered what's the definition of data collection, and then I talked about the data ethics, the how to use in-house or internal data, how to use open data, how to gather new data, how to use third-party data, and the quality of that data was covered in the next session. But you can read more about that, like what does it mean to have ethics in data collection? Why do you need to use sometimes external data to enrich your data? And I also talked about a great platform called Explorium that will help you do this data enrichment. And it's awesome. I do have like 2-3 articles about that tool. So if you find Explorium and you search for Explorium in my name, you'll see the articles. I'm about to launch a new article about Explorium and also on auto machine learning, and it's going to be very interesting. So great. After we covered that, we went to episode number 5. That was about exploring and preparing data. And in here, after you collected the data, after you have all of these data sets that may be in databases or Excel files, CSV file, .txt files, I don't know, you need to find a way of exploring what's there. You need to understand your data. So the session about exploring and preparing data was all about the things you need to do to understand the data you have. And that can mean having plots, using statistics to find some information about the data you have, how to wrangle your data, and that's the preparation part. The preparation part can come in 2 ways. One is for you when you're learning about the data, you may do some data wrangling to be able to understand it better. And it's a very important step before doing any type of modeling. Most of machine learning algorithms needs the data in a very specific format. So in the data prep part, you need to transform the data into a way that the machine learning algorithm can understand it and work with it. So I also discussed in that episode some concepts about data preparation, what do you need to do, when can you use variables that are strings, when you need to transform it into numbers and stuff like that. After doing all of that, let me see if you have any more questions so far. Okay, so before going to the next thing, I have a question by Sergio. He says, what do you think about the usability of auto ML solutions on companies without a data scientist and engineer teams? Let's say when a company is on an early stage of digital transformation. The article I'm writing is specifically about this point, Sergio. Hopefully, it will be published tomorrow or this Saturday, hopefully, if I can finish it. And I talk about the good parts and the bad parts. And I think it's not safe to give a company an AutoML tool and people with no context to solve problems. I don't think that's the way we need to go. At least not right now. We haven't reached a point where data literacy and the data culture is there for every company. So if you're trying to push machine learning into a company without any structure, method for working, or understanding of what they're doing, you're going to give them a very dangerous tool. So in general, you should understand math before doing machine learning. In general, you really need to understand the business and the project and the scope of the things you want to solve before doing machine learning. And so, but if you do have a company with great understanding on machine learning, with great understanding on the math concepts behind all of these algorithms, if they know the business, if they know data, these are tools that can be very helpful. And that's the other part I mentioned in this article. That's the good part. If you already have experts in machine learning or people that really know how to do machine learning, it's a great tool because that will take a lot of pressure and it will also cut time for projects. You can test for more things. You can do benchmarking for your models and more models. So there are great ways of using auto machine learning. But remember that right now we're not doing auto data science. That's not the idea we have right now. We're just we're automating some parts of data science. That's true. But we still need people that understand what they're doing. I don't know if that's going to be like that in the future. I have no idea. Maybe in the future we just have robots that know data science and they know the business and they know the math and know everything. But right now we don't have that. So right now you do need to understand the math. You do need to understand how to use or a system or code in Python or R or a language like this. And you can read and you should really understand the math behind the algorithms. There's a question by Lucas in here. I couldn't find episode 6 and 7 of season 2 either on Spotify or on YouTube. Maybe, thanks. So yes, we have had some problems with the episode 6 and 7. They're supposed to be there, but they're not there yet. So we're delayed on that. They were live, they're recorded, but they are in post production, and we really need to write the whole newsletter for that. So hopefully that will be done by next week. You will have all of the episodes that are missing right now. So hopefully that will be the case, and you'll also have this one. So thank you, Lucas, for that. You can find, I think, up to see the episode 6 something or 5 on YouTube, but all of the other ones are going to be there very soon. All right. So let me go now to the other episode, and that was the episode number 6 in particular, that was about knowledge discovery. Before going into the ideas of modeling and machine learning, I talk about the importance of knowledge discovery in our world in data science. Knowledge discovery was the driving concept for data mining. And even though data mining and data science are not the same, they share a lot of things. And one is that they really want to discover useful information in data. So knowledge discovery was the topic of like if you were there in 1996 and you were in the conferences, or 97, 98, even in the early 2000s, all of the topics were about how to discover knowledge in databases. And that was data mining. So before going there to modeling and the like more hardcore parts of machine learning, I went to talk about like this piece of history we have and why it's important for us to discover knowledge and useful information in the databases we have. In this final episode that was like some weeks ago, I talked about modeling in data science. And something very important. Modeling is not always machine learning. Modeling is a process we have in science in general. Modeling is abstracting a piece of reality to understand a process underneath. If you want to understand why the water at sea level boils at 100 Celsius degrees, you need to understand that process. And there are a lot of variables and things in there, but you cannot understand the whole reality. So you abstract a piece of reality, you encapsulate that, and you work there. And a model is normally a set of mathematical equations that understand and simulates the process even in paper. There are models that are statistical or stochastic, that you need probability to solve them. There are some models that are deterministic, that means that they don't have any type of uncertainty underneath. There are more advanced models. We have linear models, non-linear models. It's a lot of different things. So when we're modeling, we're trying to understand a process. We're trying to understand a process and how we're working with it. And we normally use math for that. So machine learning is extracting those models and putting them into algorithms. And those algorithms are working mostly iteratively to learn patterns and features from the past data to predict future data. Okay, so the machine learning models work with data. They work with data. You need data to start a machine learning project in like 99% of the cases. So, or maybe 100. So that's the idea of machine learning, is to understand patterns and behaviors and features in the past data, so you can predict something in the future, or you can find some useful information in that data for then doing another model for predicting something. So modeling is a big part in data science. It's normally done with machine learning. That can have some different ways, like deep learning and all of that we may cover later in the future of this season or the third season. But it's very important, because what I showed here is what do we need modeling in data science. I also cover what is machine learning and also how to solve business problems. So you can find that on that episode. I know it's not there yet. It's gonna be there soon. I promise. So that was what have we've been covering so far. And you can find all of that, and you will find more on YouTube, Spotify. And so I want to talk to you very briefly about what's coming next. You can still put your questions there. We still have like 4 more minutes, so go ahead and just type your questions right there. So what is missing from this season is to go more into more detail about machine learning. I will give you more ideas on how to create models and how to approach a problem. If you need classification or regression, or if you want to use a linear model, a non-linear model, when do you have to use deep learning? Is it useful, and stuff like that. I mean, it's like I'm going to go into more detail about machine learning. Then we're going to cover deployment. How do you deploy models? How do you go and actually put a model into production? How and that can be different things for different people. It can be internal production, like for your managers and for your people, or it can be for external customers or for clients. Then we're going to go into a session about how to monitor all of this, how to monitor your deployments and your models, and to be aware that if they're working or not. We'll also cover in future episodes more about data operations, a very interesting topic that contains a lot of different things from dev operations, from software engineering, and also lean manufacturing. I'm going to cover something about infrastructure, like how can you set up a basic infrastructure for data science. And finally, we'll see more like 2 more episodes on agility and data science, and how to create data science teams with agility that can do all of the things we have covered in that season. So we're missing like 5-6 more episodes of for this season. If you want something in particular to be covered, please let us know. How can you reach us? So Elaine just put there the or user on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook is at Closter Team. So you can find us there, and Gabriel just put there the link as well. So you can find there at our Closter Team, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or here at LinkedIn at Closter. Just search for Closter and you'll find us. You can ask us there any questions, and you can say, hey, Fabio or Cluster team, can you please cover the topic on how to do this in machine learning? Or I want to know more about stuff like that. What about next courses? That's a very good question. So the idea of this season was to introduce all of you to this concept because we're launching a course, a full stack data science course where you will be learning all of this with code. It's going to be in Python. We don't have a specific timeline for that, and we're going to launch that in Spanish and in English. So if you're interested in courses with us at Cluster, please follow us in Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, and also here on LinkedIn, because we're going to be publishing very soon the dates for the next courses and more surprises that are coming in the near future with us. So I'm going to give you one more minute. If you have any further questions, go ahead and type that right now. I just want to thank again everyone that has subscribed to the newsletter. Remember that it's free. All of this is entirely free. All of our podcasts, our YouTube, our newsletter. The idea here is to help you to go and learn and to inspire you to be better at data science, at statistics and machine learning and analytics. And we're going to be launching different sets of shows like this about other topics very, very soon. So make sure to follow us on social media, follow us on YouTube. And I want to thank my great team, Gabriel, Eileen, Hazel, for making this possible. And also my friend Einstein here. It's called Albi, by the way. And we'll see you very, very soon. Hopefully you had fun and you learned something interesting today. And again, make sure to subscribe so you get a quick notification when we're doing a new session like this. Thank you very much and see you soon.